What to expect from the mortgage process when buying a home. It's one of the most common things I get asked by both realtors and clients. And it starts the process from the day that someone goes, hey, you should call Scott Morse. And where do you go from there? We're going to have an initial call, and I'm going to send you a link to application. You're going to fill that out, and then my team's going to take over. We're going to reach out and ask for documents, pay stubs, bank statements, W-2s, tax returns if you're self-employed, 1099-Rs if you're retired, a list of items that we're going to use to come up with a number that you qualify for when purchasing a home. At that point, once you have that pre-approval, you're going to be able to take that. That's your ticket to go shopping. That tells the listing agent that someone has reviewed your finances and you have the ability to close on that purchase. When you go to make that offer, I'm going to call the listing agent. I'm going to tell them the same thing, and then I'm going to tell them we can do it in 21 days if we need to. Because if closing fast helps you win, that's what we're going to help you do. Once you have pre-approval, you've made an offer on a house. You've signed, the seller signs, you now have a ratified contract. Once you have a ratified contract, the next step is an earnest money deposit. That is the money that you pay that's still your money to a title company or to the realtor company to hold in escrow that shows that you are serious about this purchase. You're not going to back out, or if you choose to back out for reasons outside of the contract, that the seller who's taken their property off the market, possibly paid for some repairs or some inspections, has the right to keep. At the same time, it's also my job and your realtor's job to protect that money. It's still your money until you close or don't default on the contract. So you've gotten pre-approved, you've made an offer, you've got a ratified contract, you've given an earnest money deposit. What's next? Once we have that contract, we're going to send you a set of initial disclosures, an outline of the loan, it's an estimate of the cost. I don't have title work, I don't have all the fees together, but we know how much these things typically are going to cost you. Once you've reviewed that and signed, that gives me authority to act on your behalf to order title and order the appraisal. The appraisal is ordered through an appraisal management company, an AMC. They're going to send you a link for payment. You'll make that payment, and then the appraisal will be assigned to an appraiser and scheduled. There are 3 upfront costs in purchasing a home: the earnest money deposit, the appraisal, and the home inspection. Typically, you as the buyer won't pay anything else until you get to closing. It's possible that you could pay for some inspections to make your offer more competitive, such as termite and water. Now that the appraisal's been ordered, initial disclosures have been signed, what's next on our end? We've taken all the documents that you've delivered to us in the pre-approval process and possibly asked you for some updates such as pay stubs or bank statements, depending on the time that it took us to get from pre-approval to contract. We've submitted them to a processor. That processor has organized them in the way that an underwriter wants to see them for review. They're going to submit. Now, we're still inside the first 7 days. So you have a contract, you've given an earnest money deposit, your initial disclosures have been signed, your appraisal has been ordered, your file has moved from processing to an underwriter. At this point, we should be getting something called a conditional approval. Based on the information that we currently have, this loan is going to go through. But we essentially did that work in the very beginning when I asked you for all those documents. So if you're somebody who's watched this and you've got a pre-approval or a pre-qual letter from an online lender and they've never asked you for anything, that's a huge red flag. Now, once you have that conditional approval, we should have a list of items that we may need to follow up on, one of which would be getting a transaction summary showing that earnest money deposit left your bank account to the title company. Please do not use cash in these transactions. It is a non-sourceable fund, meaning we can't prove where those monies came from. It's a big red flag. The next thing that we're going to be waiting on is the appraisal to come in, meaning the appraiser went to the property, had an inspection, performed an inspection, gathered comparable sales from close to the property. If it's in an HOA community or a place where there's a lot of the same houses, it's going to happen pretty quickly. If it's more rural, it may take a little bit more time. Once they have that value in return to us, and then we've taken the conditions that we sent to you and you return to us to complete the loan commitment, we'll be submitting for clear to close and getting your loan ready to fund. At this point, we're in the last few days of the process. Now, if this is something where we're closing in 21 days, this is going to seem super fast, and I mean really bang bang. I'm going to be very urgent with you about gathering documents and getting these things. Our closers will be balancing with the title company to get your final numbers so that you know how much money you need to bring to close. Our closers are balanced with title. We've gotten you your final numbers. You're then going to bring a cashier's check or a wire, depending on how title is comfortable receiving the funds. Wires are most common these days. You'll take that to your bank. You'll walk in, you'll set an appointment, sit down. They'll verify the wire information. You'll sign that document. They will execute the funds to the title company. And then you'll head on over, sit down, and sign your final documents and become a homeowner. All of that may seem like a lot, but as you go through the process, you're going to remember these steps as you go through them. And if you do have any questions about the process in general, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like, subscribe, and follow for more real estate advice.